Are you planning on visiting Florence for the first time? Well, stay tuned because today we're going to tell you all you need to know to make your first trip to Florence the best it can possibly be. Andrea and I live in Italy, and actually, we just live an hour away from Florence, and we often go there to visit. So you can trust us for an insider's view and essential tips when visiting Florence for the first time. In this video, you're going to be learning what's the best season to go, how many days you should stay, how to get to Florence, where to stay in Florence, how to move around in Florence, and of course, my personal favorite, what to eat and drink in Florence. As you can see, we have a lot to cover today, so let's begin.
Let's begin.
Hi everyone, I'm Rick.
And I'm Andrea, and today we'll tell you all you need to know about visiting Florence for the first time. But first, if you like travel-related videos like this one, now it is a great time to hit the subscribe button down below so you'll never miss any future videos.
Absolutely, especially in the series, right, about traveling to Italy.
Absolutely. So let's begin our video with our first topic about visiting Florence for the first time, and we'll talk about when it is the best time to visit Florence.
So when is the best time to visit Florence?
When is the best time? In our opinion, the best time to visit Florence is the spring or early fall. In fact, in these two seasons, the temperatures are nice and comfortable, and the city is not as busy as it is in the middle of the summer, when it's packed with tourists. In particular, temperature in May will be around 24 Celsius during the day, or 75 Fahrenheit, and 21 Celsius in October, while in July and August can reach 32, 33 degrees Celsius or 89 Fahrenheit. Also in the fall, you will be able to see the vineyard changing color, which is quite a wonderful sight if you decide to take a tour outside of the city center. Also, the summer is the busiest time of the year in Florence, with thousands of tourists flooding the city every single day. In the summer, the city is packed and prices for flights and hotels are at the highest. Bottom line, if you can avoid the summer and pick another time to visit Florence, we think you will have a much better experience.
Absolutely. Actually, I don't even think we often go there in the summertime, right?
No, usually we don't. But what if you can only visit Florence in the summer? What should we do? In that case, we recommend you to book your hotels way in advance to score a better price and book fully refundable rates in case you change your plans or you find a better rate somewhere else. Also, if you're visiting in the summer, we strongly recommend you go out early and explore the city early in the morning or late in the evening, when the temperatures are cooler and more comfortable. And most of the tourists that visiting the city just for the day are gone. Keep the indoor stuff like museums and churches for during the day when you can stay in the air conditioning and it's better there.
Absolutely. That's a really, really good tip. Okay, so let's move on to our next things to know before visiting Florence for the first time. And we'll talk about how many days do I need in Florence? Florence's historic city center is relatively small, but it's packed with so many incredible sights that we strongly recommend you to stay there at least 3 full days to see all of Florence itself. Also, you can use Florence as a base camp to visit some other incredible areas of Tuscany, such as Siena, Pisa, or the Chianti area. In fact, from Florence, you can do day tours to all of these places, and believe us, you won't be disappointed. Now, if you wish to do a day tour, we recommend adding a day for each tour you wish to take. And by the way, we will leave a link in the description for all of our favorite experiences. Speaking of which, we strongly recommend you to book all of your tours in advance for Florence. And most importantly, book the skip the line tickets to avoid the incredibly long lines. And this is especially important for the Uffizi Gallery, where you're going to admire some of, the Italian Renaissance masterpieces, and for the Galleria dell'Accademia, where there you're going to find the David, and of course for the Duomo. In fact, if you only have 3 days in this city, you don't want to be wasting a day and a half, I'm not kidding you, waiting in line for tickets.
Absolutely. Try to move on to our next tip about visiting Florence for the first time, and we'll talk about how to get to Florence. Florence is located in central Italy, and it is the capital of Tuscany. It is located about 285 kilometers or 177 miles north of Rome, 305 kilometers or 189 miles south of Milan, and 257 kilometers or 159 miles south of Venice. The main airport in Florence is called Amerigo Vespucci, and it is located about 7 kilometers or 4 miles outside of the city center. To reach downtown from the airport, you can use the tram that takes about 20 minutes from the airport to Santa Maria Novella train station. The price for the tram at the time of recording is only €1.50 one way.
So, to get from the airport to Santa Maria Novella, only €1.50?
At the moment.
That's a deal.
We'll leave a link in the description below with all the details how to use the tram. But if you prefer to go straight from the airport to your hotel downtown, you can take a taxi. That has a fixed rate of €28 during the day and €32 at night, and €30 during the weekend and holidays. They also add €1 per bag, up to 7 bags, and an extra €3 if the rides start from the airport. So to recap, if you go on a Sunday during the day with 2 bags, we will spend €35. So 30 plus 3 plus 2, 35. If you arrive in Florence from Rome, Naples, Venice, or Milan, chances are that you will arrive by train. Florence is extremely well connected to all these cities by high-speed train. In fact, from Rome to Florence by high-speed train, it will only take about 1 hour and 38 minutes.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh.
From Venice to Florence will take 2 hours and 13 minutes, and from Milan it will take 1 hour and 54 minutes. So it's pretty fast.
Pretty easy trip,
Yeah. The main train station in Florence is called Santa Maria Novella. It is located right in the city center, just 10 minutes walk from the Duomo. In fact, the train is our favorite way to get to Florence because it's so easy and convenient and very efficient. And you avoid parking, which in Florence can be a little bit of a problem. Lastly, if you arrive in Florence by cruise ship, you will stop at the port of Livorno, which is located about 89 kilometers or 55 miles from the city center. From the port, you can take the bus to Livorno Centrale train station, and then from there you can take the train to Santa Maria Novella. The train ride will take approximately 1 hour and a half, so it's a quite long ride. In our opinion, it's not the best solution because you won't have a lot of time in Florence because the train is quite long. A better option is to take a tour bus or a bus transfer from Livorno to Florence and Pisa. We'll leave a link in the description below for a bus tour that you can actually take from the port.
Yes, actually, there's a hop-on, hop-off bus that takes you from Livorno all the way to Florence.
Yeah.
Well, now that you know how to get to Florence, it's now time to explore our next tip about visiting Florence for the first time. And we'll talk about where to stay in Florence. So as we mentioned before, Florence's historic city center is really quite small. And for this reason, we like to pick hotels that are located in this area because they're going to be walking distance from almost all the best spots in town. In particular, if you're looking for more budget-friendly hotels, you can pick the area near the Santa Maria Novella train station. Otherwise, you can pick hotels in pretty much anywhere else in the city. And you remember that last time we went where we stayed right by the Arno River, really beautiful, in an area called Lungarno. And we really loved it there.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, and it was just a couple of minutes from the Ponte Vecchio.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to experience something unique, you can stay in one of the many old villas on the hill surrounding the city. These were old, noble family country homes, right?
Yeah.
That were converted into hotels. And there, of course, you can experience some of the most stunning views of the Tuscan countryside. But you're going to require some form of transportation, to the city center. Some of these villas will offer shuttle service to downtown. Otherwise, you can try a taxi.
Yes.
Now, as we mentioned before, be sure to book your hotels as far ahead as possible to score a better price if that's important to you. Also, make sure to book a flexible rate that you can cancel if you need before you get there, because you never know, you might find a better deal, plans might change.
Who knows? Who knows?
And also, get a hotel that offers free breakfast. This way, you can bulk up in the morning and then have a nice dinner with maybe a little snack or a glass of wine along the way.
Okay, let's explore our next topic about visiting Florence for the first time, and we'll talk about how to move around Florence.
So, how do you move around Florence?
Well, Florence is probably the most walkable city in Italy. In fact, you can reach almost all the landmarks in the city within a short time walking. In fact, from the Duomo to Ponte Vecchio, it is only an 8-minute walk, and a slow walk as well. By the way, if you want a perfect itinerary with a downloadable map in Florence, check the video up here. The only area that is a bit of a long walk is Piazzale Michelangelo, where you can see the most stunning view of the city.
And you must go there. You must go to Piazzale Michelangelo.
It's beautiful. In fact, it will take about 30 minutes, mostly uphill, to walk there. And remember, if you plan to walk in Florence, wear comfortable shoes because you will walk a lot.
Yes, I think we get 20,000 steps every single time.
But it's kind of flat. So
yeah, usually, except to go to Piazzale Michelangelo.
Yeah. One way we absolutely love to see the sights in Florence is to take a golf cart tour.
Oh, yes.
With this tour, you will go very close to the most popular landmark in Florence, including Piazzale Michelangelo, without having to walk at all.
Very good tip.
And actually, I prefer it over the up-off bus because the golf cart is faster, you see more things, and they get very close to every attraction, which means less walking. And this is especially important if you have mobility issues. So if you have a mobility issue, we strongly recommend it.
Yeah.
Not only that, because of the size of the golf cart, you can go where the larger bus cannot go.
Exactly. And there's also a fewer amount of people, right?
Yeah. Also, in case you need to use the bathroom in Florence, you can use the public bathroom that are located around the city center. The cost to use the bathroom is approximately €1 at the time of recording. And we will leave a link in the description below with a map of all the public bathrooms in the city center.
Did Florence actually create a map of all of the bathrooms?
Absolutely.
Actually, I think I'm going to keep a copy in my back pocket moving forward.
Yeah, alternatively, you can go to a coffee shop and buy a coffee or a bottle of water and use the bathroom there. But it's kind of defeat the purpose, right? Because you drink water and you...
Well, perhaps in an emergency, I could buy the water and give it to you, and then, well, anyway.
Well, stay hydrated at least.
Exactly.
Lastly, if you want to go from point A to point B without walking, you can take a taxi.
Yeah.
Taxis in Florence are quite affordable and easy to find. The only problem with taxi is traffic that sometimes can be quite heavy in the city center, and taxis sometimes they crawl, they don't even move.
Yes, the people, right?
Yeah.
So it's time to move to our last and final topic about visiting Florence for the first time. And we're going to talk about my personal favorite, what to eat and drink in Florence. So Florence has an incredible food tradition, right? There's many dishes that you're going to want to try while visiting Florence, but one that we absolutely recommend you to try if you're not a vegetarian is the famous bistecca alla Fiorentina. This is a very thick T-bone steak cooked rare to medium rare and sliced to share. Hey, that rhymes. But trust us, even if you're not into steak, this will be the juiciest, most tender piece of meat you've ever had. Another very popular thing to try while in Florence is the famous bruschetta that was actually invented in Tuscany. and of course the chicken liver pate crostini, which are little small pieces of bread with chicken liver pate. Also in Florence, you can also try many of the incredible pasta dishes. Now, when visiting Florence and Tuscany, you should also plan to go olive oil tasting. In fact, some of the best olive oil in Italy comes from Tuscany, and it would be a shame not to experience it. Lastly, Tuscany is the birthplace of some of the most famous wines in the world, right? Such as Chianti and Brunello di Montalcino, and no trip to Florence would be complete without a wine tasting experience. You can do it either in the city or, like I like to, take a tour into the countryside. And we will leave a link, obviously, in the description. And actually, if you want to know more about about a wine tour in Tuscany and what it's like, check this video up here. And actually, it was a lot of fun making that video,
Absolutely.
right? Now, I understand it. If you cannot take a tour of the countryside, you can also visit the San Lorenzo Market in downtown Florence, where you can have a taste of all of the best products that Florence and Tuscany has to offer. And of course, on the top floor, there's a giant food court filled with everything that you could possibly want. Well, folks, this concludes our video about visiting Florence for the first time. We hope you learned something and that this will help make your tour of Florence even more memorable.
As usual, if you have any question, you can leave a comment below. We love to read your comments and reply to all your questions if we can. In the meantime, we will see you on our next video.
Ciao!
Ciao!